It's been cloudy, mostly dry in Denver today. That's good news for anyone traveling, especially driving during Thanksgiving. But the Mile High City is just itching for some meaningful moisture. We could finally get some next weekend. Wait around. We're glad you're with us. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Phil Lipoff. While we are pretty dry in most of the metro area tonight, it's a much different story further south. 9 News Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin is tracking this system for us, Kathy, and we're now talking about next weekend. What are you looking at?
Well, first of all, we have a huge storm that's spinning over Colorado, and right here in Denver, you wouldn't know it. It's cloudy, it's calm, and it's cool, but it's dry. Down south, we have rain and snow covering half of Colorado. Well, we're sitting here in downtown Denver with the temperature close to 50 degrees. This is a big storm, looks like a spring-like storm, that counterclockwise rotation, bringing bands of showers back into the Front Range. Heavy rain from Colorado Springs to Sterling to North Platte, and snow outside of Colorado Springs, Pikes Peak, and across the southern mountains. Accumulating snow, winter weather and winter driving conditions actually exist across the San Juan Range, the La Garita Range, the Southwest Mountains, and that moisture is just close to Denver. We've had a few sprinkles here, but the heavier showers, Castle Rock, Kiowa, up to the Deer Trail area. But the snow is welcome in southern Colorado. Even though it's winding down, we'll take every inch. 4 to 8 inches total expected by 11 o'clock when this winter weather advisory does expire. A few showers left over on the far eastern plains tonight. Skies clear. You're going to get some sunshine on your Monday. Nice way to start a busy holiday week. Temperatures will dip into the 30s tonight with clearing skies. And your weather headlines include the storm we're tracking for tonight, because it's still going for southern Colorado. A mild, dry holiday week for the most part. And now next weekend looks cold with the potential for snow in Denver. The timing and impact is coming up.
This year, we've seen acts of political violence from assassinations to arson, experts say. We've also seen an increase in dangerous rhetoric.
9 News reporter Angeline McCall joins us to break down a new threat against lawmakers, including a congressman from Colorado.
President Trump just days ago called Democratic Representative Jason Crow's behavior punishable by death, along with other lawmakers. And within days, every single one of those lawmakers says they've seen a surge of threats against them.
Death threats targeting Democratic Representative Jason Crow.
You deserve to die. I hope you all get murdered. I hope you all get throat slashed. You disgraced America.
He received calls like these days after President Trump posted on social media calling his behavior seditious and punishable by death. The president's comments were in response to this video posted by Crow and 5 other Democratic lawmakers.
Threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
On CNN, Crow responded to the president's post.
I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm not going to be threatened.
Then late Friday, Crow said his office received death threats.
Social media does create an environment where threats are easy to make and potentially easy to make with very little consequence.
Associate Professor of Political Science Phil Chen says threats like these are becoming more common.
We've seen a lot of elites engaging in this kind of violent rhetoric against political opponents.
President Trump eventually clarified he wasn't calling for anyone's death.
To me, it's clear, right, that you can say, I didn't mean that, but it's still there. And if you didn't mean it, you would have taken the post down, and that hasn't happened.
The threats against Crow's office followed increased political violence this year with the assassination of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband, along with conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
What we do know from the research on this is that elites using sort of violent rhetoric or failing to denounce violence and violent rhetoric leads people to be at least more supportive of political violence.
Chen says this is a chance to shift what we accept from leaders on both sides.
I think it's important to remember the humanity of individuals, of the other side. But I think the bigger thing we need to do is hold politicians accountable when they endorse violent rhetoric and when they fail to denounce violent rhetoric, because that is the way that a lot of this spreads.
Another part of this worry is that as threats of violence rise, people could be discouraged to run for office. Chen says that would really threaten the composition of our democratic institutions as we see threats on every level, including on the city as well as locally. Angela McCall, 9 News.
An Israeli man who was held hostage by Hamas for more than 500 days is bringing his story of hope to Colorado. Tonight, Omer Shem Tov spoke in Longmont. He was taken by Hamas on October 7th, 2023, during that attack on the Nova Music Festival. He was just 22 years old. He told the crowd tonight that he was starved, isolated, pressured to participate in propaganda. But he resisted, leaning on his inner strength and faith, knowing, he said, he'd make it out of there one day. It's something, he says, he learned from his family.
My parents, they always taught me that positive thinking creates positive reality.
Omer was released this past February. He spent 505 days in captivity.
As the holidays bring joy to so many, they can also be really hard for those navigating challenges like depression and grief.
Colorado has one of the highest rates of suicide deaths in the nation. As 9 News reporter Rachel Krause shows us, experts say talking about it can actually help get rid of the stigma and turn that trend around.
It just doesn't feel real.
It's been more than a year since Amanda Killam lost her boyfriend, Rob.
Sometimes it'll hit me out of nowhere. I'll be driving and I'll want to tell him something, and then I have to remember that I can't tell him.
Amanda says Rob loved the gym, their dogs, and sports.
He was a huge football guy. Sad he's not here to see this year, because it's a really good year for Denver.
They'd been together for 7 years, but Rob's health challenges had been around far longer. In his 20s, Rob had kidney failure and a stroke. Years later, his kidney failed again, bringing another round of health challenges.
Even though on the outside he showed how strong he was, but he was struggling on the inside.
Last June, Rob died by suicide. He was 42.
With such a traumatic loss like that, I was like, I'm going to need to see a therapist.
Amanda came in immediately after she lost Rob, and so that's pretty unique. And I think the fact that she has stuck with weekly therapy for a long time shows a level of resilience that I wish that we all had courage to face.
Mandy Doria works with people experiencing trauma and grief, including suicide, something that's impacted many in Colorado.
You can't really throw a stone too far without hitting somebody that has experienced this kind of loss, unfortunately. So we're really wanting to normalize that.
CDC data shows Colorado ranks in the top 10 for suicide deaths and has for years. Doria says slowing that trend starts with people tackling their grief head on.
Because people don't speak about it, I do think it's really important. I have noticed there's a lot of shame behind it.
Amanda says removing the stigma, the shame around suicide won't be simple, but it starts with a conversation.
I never want anyone to feel the way that I have felt in losing somebody. And so if I can raise that awareness to help somebody, why not?
A year after Rob's death, Amanda wanted to find a way to honor his memory. So she's started a line of clothing designed to spark conversations about mental health and help people know that they're helped and loved. She says it's already getting people talking while giving her space to share about Rob. Rachel Krause, 9 News.
Thanks, Rachel. If you or someone you know is struggling, you can call or text Colorado Crisis Services or the National Suicide Lifeline. The numbers are on your screen right now. That's 988 to speak with trained counselors 24 hours a day. We also have this information in this story on 9news.com.